Welcome to a brand new episode of Geeks from the Multiverse. You know that game, the one where you tell yourself you're just going to play for an hour, and then suddenly it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you've joined 3 guilds, stolen a loaf of bread, and somehow accidentally became a vampire? Yeah, we're talking about Elder Scrolls. From Morrowind to Oblivion to the game Bethesda has released more times than we can count. We're diving into the world of Tamriel, the crazy lore, the guilds, the mods, and why millions of people are still wandering around nearly 20 years later. So grab your swords, your spell books, and at least 17 wheels of stolen cheese, and let's get geeky.
We're geeks from the multiverse. We've come to unite all geeks. Now it's time to get geeky and dive right in, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Like I said, welcome to Geeks from the Multiverse. We are your hosts. I am Grumpy Beard, and with me, as always,
Captain Mustache. How you doing, y'all?
wow,
Yeah,
that was violent.
he was like, "Whoa, that was a little aggressive there, guy. Why don't you back up a minute?" No, but yes, today we're going to be talking about Elder Scrolls, and so I will say this real quick, Matt, is that Elder Scrolls is a game where it's like if you take, I guess your imagination, you take your imagination of like D&D a little bit, and like take, all the fantasy and all the things, and you say, you know what, we're going to make it a giant open world, and you say, here you go. And you can customize everything you want. And then also, because Bethesda likes doing this so much, Bethesda, and I never understood this, they're really known, and especially with Elder Scrolls, just like in Fallout and other things too, why, and this is why I don't understand this, why do they feel the need to have a slow motion attack? Do you know what I'm talking about? Because I feel like they do that a lot, and especially those kinds of games. And I don't understand why in Elder Scrolls you have to feel the need to, okay, hold on, and it's slow motion, and it's like a sword attack, and it goes really fucking slow, and then you're like, okay, so you have to, like 5 more seconds to decide on what the fuck you want to do. And you're like,
Yeah, I mean, I do think like the fighting in Elder Scrolls is sort of archaic. Like you're basically trying to like when I have like okay, you have somebody coming at you swinging a sword, and then you have a sword in your hand. So now it just becomes like almost this wild, weird, like you just like
yeah, like swoosh, 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 and you're like, what are you doing?
and
Like,
then suddenly like the guy just falls because you've drained his health. But it doesn't look like you've actually hit it. Like it just kind of looks like you guys are wildly flailing, especially like when you play some of the like the newer ones, like Oblivion and like Morrowind. Like you play some of those, it's like so archaic looking. And I know, like, I think Skyrim's an okay game, but I personally could not get into Skyrim.
well,
And online, forget it. Like I've tried to play
no.
online, and online I just cannot fucking do. Like
Well, see, and this is where these kinds of games where, everyone's like, oh, it'd be great to play like an online version. I think,
whatever they did with the online version, they fucked it up.
I think what, in my mind, especially where online, and so this is where Matt and I have talked about in the past, like with co-op games and stuff like that. If you could not, sure, like I understand, like if you think of the world of WoW, right, or like World of Warcraft and all that.
Whoa.
Wow. To me, like if you're playing a game like this, it's better if you have like a couple, like if you have like a 4-man squad. And you're like kind of like what we've been doing with like Far Cry and things like that. You don't need to have like this massive like.
Yeah, I mean, online was the only one that you could play with multiple people. But I mean, when you're playing Oblivion and Skyrim, like you're just
No, it's solo. It's all
Your own,
solo
yeah.
based. But I think it would. I don't know why games don't want to do co-op. I really
no, because like you have Diablo 4 that does the same thing where you're in this like basically online community,
Right.
and you have to almost connect with other people because like in Diablo 4, I think it's like almost the same thing. Like you could be doing a mission in Elder Scrolls Online,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden like there's this guy that shows up and doing everything for you, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
I was just doing this 2 seconds ago. Like, leave me
Yeah.
the fuck alone. No, I'm just saying, like, instead of having.
it's not like when we were playing like Ghost Recon
Right.
or Far Cry, like where we connect with each other and like we're playing. It's
Right.
just open, and you and I could still play like Elder Scrolls Online, but like
Now you have
we
to
would
worry
be
about
doing a mission, and then all of a sudden like we'd have this jabroni who's joined our mission. Like
Oh.
he's part of our crew now. Now we're
Right.
3 people, but he is not doing a fucking thing, but
That's-
like
I love-
following us.
I love how you use the word jabroni. I love like, this fucking jabroni over here.
Well,
But it's
because
true.
that's happened to me more times on this Elder Scrolls Online than more so anything else. Like where these jabronis just kind of jump in and they're literally not doing anything,
Right.
but they're talking your fucking ear off, and it's like, dude, shut the fuck up
Or get the fuck out of here.
and get the fuck out so I can just do this mission in my own peace and quiet.
Like, I'd rather talk to my buddy over here who hasn't played a game with me in so long. No, and I agree with you. And that's what I'm saying about a lot of these games. But I know we're not diving into that. But real quick, because, we always like to start off with some small talk here. So one of the things I was thinking about, because I understand you and I haven't.
Small talk.
Oh, sorry, small talk. Everyone's like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "Well, that's Matt for you because
Hey,
he loves to, emphasize on
There's
that."
a weird thing in our notes, yes.
But anyways, no. So one of the things I was thinking about, Matt. So like, I know, yes, him and I haven't played a game in quite a while now. I understand, and he's like, "Well, if you jumped on, maybe I would play a game with you." And I said, "Well, it kind of depends on the game you're fucking playing because if you're playing something else, then I'm like, I really don't want to play that particular game." And I'll say it. It's hard to play certain games nowadays because there's not a lot of games that like we've been just talking about, like the co-op style. There's not. It's like you either play single or it has to be this massive online bullshit, and it's like you can't just go in the middle and say, "Can we do co-op?" Because sometimes it's okay to have a small squad because you don't need fucking 16 people hanging out with you and say, "Okay, well, we got to complete this mission together." And then about half of them don't do shit, and the other half are like, "Okay, I guess we're gonna pick up the slack now." And you're like, "No, motherfucker! Like, get with the
Yeah.
program."
Like when we were doing that whole Call of Duty zombies thing, and you still have that one fucking guy who hasn't moved from the starting spot.
And he's fucking sitting there going, or he's probably going to the bathroom, and it takes 15 years to come back, and then you're like, you're already halfway.
And
through
we've been trying to kill all the fucking zombies around this guy, and he hasn't moved for like 30 minutes. And you're like, dude, what the hell? Like,
right, and we're just sitting there like, you know what, fuck this guy, we're done. And then of course they like disconnect, and I'm like, thank God. And then they have some other jabroni who basically doesn't do the same thing, but then he goes off and does his own stupid bullshit, and you're like, can we just get someone that's competent instead of someone who doesn't do jack shit?
they don't exist.
No. But like I was gonna ask this. So what is one game currently that you've been playing a lot of?
I mean, I did talk about before. I mean, I was playing a lot of Diablo 3. That was when we did our Diablo episode. But I just picked up Starfield. So I've been playing that a little bit. I'm on the fence whether I like it or I don't. I think it's still kind of boring.
Really?
To be honest, but
I mean, and from my understanding, because my dad's been playing it, I mean, it's open world. I mean, there's multiple areas that you can explore and like different, I mean, it
oh, I'm not saying it's not in depth. I just think like it's kind of, I mean, because it has a lot to do with upgrading your ship and upgrading like different things like.
I know like outposts and like your probably your weapons and your I mean, because it is a Bethesda game, so it is kind of similar to, not quite Fallout and like in this case Elder Scrolls and stuff, but like I saw some of the aspects. I mean, it looks like it's more it's a lot more customization. There's more areas you can explore. There's more things like that. There's missions, but
I mean, it's fun. I actually I went on and I created John Wick. Like he's my character. Like he looks like his hair and his beard and his face like look similar. You can tell the subtle difference because it's obviously a game and not
right in the actual
full customization. But I like the fact that like you can customize your character to look like anything you want. Like the sky is pretty much the limit. I mean, the one thing that kind of sucks is like there's not one particular hairstyle that looks like John Wick.
Yeah.
There's some that look close and like similar, but it's not like exact. But no, I mean, I think the game is. I mean, it's fun in a certain way, and then annoying in others.
Well, and like I said about like co-op and all that. I mean, there's a lot of great games that don't. They feel like they only need to do single, or they have to have this like massive online platform where it's only online, like, and you can't do anything else. And so that's where I'm like, why not have like an in between, have like a co-op or something like that where you can like join a game and be like, hey, where are you at? Oh, I'm over here. Okay, and I can join with you and go to your outpost and go do other things and do other missions. And it's like, I understand there's a lot of games that sure they're really good to be single, but at the same time, there's a lot of games that should be kind of that co-op style because it needs to like because why wouldn't I want to go join you on a mission or like do other things and do all these other missions or whatever the case may be. I know one thing for me. Yeah, I know. I'm going back to the same theme here, Matt. So recently, It's not that I haven't really been playing any games like on my PlayStation, but one game I decided to pick up back up again, and because it's on my Switch it's Pokemon. And I was
Pokemon.
Pokemon. Yeah, I was playing basically Fire Red. I mean, for everyone who loves Pokemon and things like that, I decided to go back into it. I actually was playing it earlier today, and I got so pissed because I was like, yeah, I'm grinding, I'm doing this, and then all of a sudden, I clicked one fucking button, and it was by accident. And this is the shitty part about games that were made back in the earlier days. I clicked the one button, and of course, I didn't fucking save it. So now I'm like, I just spent like 2 hours on something, and I'm like, you know what, fuck this, I'm not doing this again right now. Because I was so pissed that I didn't think about saving it. I didn't think about doing anything, and I was like, "Fuck!" I'm like, because you can't, because again, like some of those games back in the day, you couldn't fucking do anything besides save it, and so I didn't think about that in the moment, and I'm like, "Son of a bitch!" And it went right to the beginning, and I was like, "Damn it!" And I was like, I forgot everything, and I was so pissed. But anyways, no, another game I will say there was two games I was playing on PlayStation. One was the new 007 First Light. I like that game. It really does kind of describe how James Bond became to be, James Bond in that whole. I do like it. It's a little bit different. I mean, it's the same creators that did Hitman, like the series. So it was really interesting to see how they did it. I mean, Amazon also was partnering with this game, which is really surprising. And I was actually looking forward to this game because I was like, oh, looks like a really cool game. Looks really exciting. And so I was playing it, and I really got into it. And it really kind of just describes, like I said, like how James Bond became to be and like the story behind him. And, it's a little bit different, a little bit, I would say, I mean, I don't know. It depends on how you want to view it. I mean, I like it. It's different. It's a new concept. They're planning on trying to make like a sequel to it and more games, in the future, but we'll see. I mean, I think it did a really good job of doing that. And another game I just started playing was, because I know with Xbox, because they decided to start releasing a lot of games from them and bringing it over to PlayStation, was Indiana Jones. So I started playing that a little bit, and I only did a little bit so far, but it's a little weird because it's not like third person, it's only first person. So it's like you're from my understanding is like you're looking at clues and you're looking at trying to like solve puzzles and kind of like what Indy would do in the movies anyway. So I mean it's good that it's following suit, but it's weird because right now I only did like the first, I don't know, it could have been like an hour of it. And I mean, literally it was just like, you're running around, you're trying to solve a puzzle, you're trying to, dodge basically the boulder, like in the like famous indie, kind of scenes. And I would say so far it's interesting enough. I mean, I might have to play a little bit more to get into it, but I mean, it's graphics wise, I mean, it's good. I think it does, as we like to, talk about, I mean, in a future episode, we'll be talking about like cinematic games and stuff like that. Because First Light and this one are very, very big on cinematic. And so it's, like I said, depending on if you like those things, if you like James Bond or if you like, Indiana Jones, it really kind of depends on how you want to, view it. And again, because of it being a cinematic game versus like a lot of the games before, like in this case, Elder Scrolls is not very cinematic. Like it's maybe like here and there, maybe. Like all you're doing is going through missions, and it could take a while before you can actually see a cutscene. Versus like in these games, like you're seeing a cutscene every so often, and it's like pretty prevalent, and like you're not. It's like you do something, and oh, there's a cutscene. Oh, you do another thing. Oh, there's another cutscene. Like, I get the fucking point. I know it's supposed to be a movie, but god damn it, I need to fucking play the game too. Right. But yes, real quick, yeah. So good, our good old call to actions here. So, as we've already mentioned in the past, with our YouTube channel, right? we just want to make sure that you guys can, listen to us on there, subscribe, for full episodes, clips, shorts, AI versus Hollywood segments, all the gaming content, all that stuff. Biggest thing too is like, if you go to our website, GFTM, basically, geeksfromthemultiverse.com, you can look at all of our episodes, merch, social media links, any Evolve contact, any future projects, things like that. And of course, like all the books that Matt's been creating, I have a couple here on my shelf, but, he hasn't given me any new books lately. Just saying.
Well, if you go to Amazon, you can buy one yourself.
Hey, you know what? God damn it, you've given me two, and I don't want to hear nothing out of you. Anyways, and then good old fist bump, baby. We gotta mention that too. Follow, interact, subscribe, and tell your friends, and even tell that bum on the street right near the Walmart if you want to. He's like, why the bum on the corner?
Hey,
I don't know.
You gotta tell everybody.
You gotta tell everybody,
Whatever.
man.
They're all friends. So the evolution of Elder Scrolls, and I know our notes start with 3. But Elder Scrolls, surprisingly, if you could imagine, did not start with Elder Scrolls 3. It actually had 2 before it. The first 3 I really haven't played a whole lot at all, really.
A lot of them are all on, if I'm not mistaken, all on PC. At least the first 3. First 2, I should say.
Yeah, the first one is Arena that came out in 94.
Right, so we're talking, this is like the same time frame as like Diablo, or maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that one was not a real, it was not meant to be a role-playing game. It was basically your player and a team of their fighters would travel the world fighting other teams in their arenas until the player became grand champion of the world's capital, the Imperial City. Then you get to Elder Scrolls 2, which is Daggerfall. That one, it replaced what Arena was with a more role playing type of atmosphere for the character. Elder Scrolls 3, though, that's really where the bigger concept of these games came to play. You had a much more diverse role playing aspect of the game, kind of like what you would expect from Oblivion and Skyrim, just not on that level of those 2 games because those came out after. But it actually trusted you to play the game, and you had to actually pay attention, because one of the things for Morrowind was a lot of the NPCs actually gave real directions, and they would be like, head east past the river and look for a cave near the hills. And you literally had to do that because it didn't tell you where it was. Like, you had to look for this.
Well, so the other thing I was going to mention too is that, and I know it's kind of a side topic / fact, is that each one of these games, if I'm not mistaken, only had because if you ever look at this actual map of like the Elder Scrolls map of Tamriel, I think that's the whole land, right, is Tamriel?
Yes.
So the entire map, okay, so far up until Skyrim, they haven't touched all of this map. They only did portions of the map.
Right.
They're still working on trying to get the entire map. So like in Oblivion, in Skyrim and all these others, they only did portions of these maps, or like portion of the map itself. There's still plenty.
When you play Skyrim, like, you can see like where Oblivion was taking place. Like, you can see, like, I don't know if you can necessarily go to that area of the map, but you can see in the map area like where those places were.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. They haven't touched all of the map because
No.
they've only touched portions of the map. And so like when you look at Skyrim, because it is supposedly the biggest of the ones so far, like they've been talking about, from my understanding too, is that they were, there's other portions of the map that they're working on to try to like get the next games, involved in some of these maps. I mean, it would be interesting enough to see exactly how big, like if you were to take a game, right, and how long it would actually take to get all of the map on one game. I'm just going to say this. That would be insane. I mean, because we've already talked about how like certain games like GTA, GTA 5 was one of the biggest maps you'd see. And then there's other games that have bigger maps than that. But like, if you're talking about a map that hasn't all the way been explored, I'm just saying it would be a very interesting game to see how the big picture of it. But anyways, so yeah, with Morrowind, you know, you're talking
I'm dropping this in there.
dropping what in there? As I'm like, what are you exactly dropping? Oh,
Yeah.
you're dropping the map?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Real quick, yeah. So Morrowind, drop players into genuinely alien fantasy world instead of generic medieval Europe, right? So you had giant mushrooms, bug taxis, ash storms, and bizarre political factions made it feel weird is in the best possible way. The game also did not care if you were confused. There were no giant glowing arrows babysitting players every 5 seconds. Because again, we're talking, I don't even know when Morrowind came out. I'm thinking it's probably like early 2000s. So, not saying that games couldn't have done that, but they, when you look at Oblivion and you look at Skyrim, yeah, they had more directions. They had more, ways to show you like where you're.
Morrowind was 2002.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, even Oblivion, like it showed you more directions. Like it gave you more of where to go. Like if you click on somebody, okay, we got to do this quest real quick. Okay, well, then you got to go over here. And it would show you at least a map, just like Skyrim and so forth. So, like, they've been improving on that, but, like, in this case, they're like, nah, fuck you, bitch. Guess what? You get to figure it out. You better listen, as he said. That is a giant-ass fucking map. And that's why I said, I'm like, it is not
Oh yeah,
a
no,
joke.
it's huge. I mean, Skyrim is just a little kind of tiny place, even though the map is huge when you're playing Skyrim. But like, you can see Morrowind, you can see Cyrodiil. You can see kind of all these Hammerfell, like you can see all these places.
Right.
I
mean, it's insane. Like if somebody was to literally take this entire map and say, okay, we're going to make it into one game, I don't even want to know how long it would take you from, let's say, High Rock to Argonia, or from Alinor to Morrowind. You know what I mean? Like to take the tip of one area to then the other farthest tip.
Yeah.
Like it would be insane. I'd be like, okay, does anyone have a dragon?
Well, and I think that's why, like, when you're in Morrowind, when you're playing Morrowind, you're just there. When you're playing Skyrim, you're primarily just there. I think once Oblivion came out, and I played the shit out of Oblivion. Like, I played that so much. And I think, like, every time I would go to play it, Danielle would be like, oh, that fucking game again.
You got to play that fucking game, and I'm not going to see it until 5 o'clock in the morning.
But Oblivion was such a good game. Like, yeah, I mean, the mechanics were oversimplified, I think, like, especially the fighting mechanics. Like you said, like, you could, like, raise your sword and you're just swinging it. And the other character is basically just swinging it. And you hope that your damage is higher than the other guy's damage. Like, and then you would almost ragdoll die. Like, your character would just like, like.
Well, and that's something that Bethesda's done in a lot of their games. Like I said, like with Fallout, and now with like Elder Scrolls and stuff. Like they have a unique sense of like fighting, but like at the same time, it just felt weird because
it's clunky.
It's weird, and that's the only thing that I have a downside with. Everything else, though, I mean, it's a great game. Like overall, and I understand like the fantasy part of it, and especially like the skill trees, right? I mean, they're in depth.
Yeah. No, the skill trees were good. The one thing about Oblivion was like the NPC behavior was, it was very unique. You would get like these weird, awkward zoom in conversations. Like when you started talking to somebody, like the screen, like
zoomed in
right to their face, and they went right to it was right in the screen, and they would say the most insane things. Like they used Bethesda used this Radiant AI system for their NPCs, so it would often be like not on purpose, but like what they were saying would be like just complete random. Like, I saw a mud crab the other day, horrible creatures. Like,
that's
what the
cool.
fuck are you talking about, bro? Like,
what crap that you speak of?
And you could be asking like, where is the sorceress that I need to go find? Well, I saw a mud crab the other day, horrible creatures. Like,
that's not what I asked.
That's not what I asked, dickhead. Like, yeah, it just was completely random. And then we have Skyrim, which is the latest one. That just was, if you took Oblivion and then made it more epic, this was what Skyrim was. Like Skyrim, I could never personally get into Skyrim myself, but Skyrim, I mean, it's right now is iconic. I mean, people are still playing Skyrim.
Well, because again, these are games like just like Fallout and a few
It
others.
came out in 2011.
Right. But again, these are games that took a long time to create. And and then the best part about some of these games too is that it's not like you have like sure, you have a set storyline, you have this and that. There's so many fucking side quests and there's so many other things you can do in this game that there's reasons why people are still playing is because it takes a long time to actually complete this game. It's not just like a one time and
I think it's I wouldn't say, necessarily the best RPG ever made, but it's probably one of the most replayable. Because I've replayed Oblivion. I can't even count how many times I've played.
Let me guess, and then you're gonna
that
go
one
home.
game.
You're gonna play it tonight, and Danielle's gonna go. That fucking game. No,
but you look at Skyrim, and it's like it still has that very simplified game mechanic to it. Like you would think maybe they would update it a little bit. I mean, yeah, they added like the screams and the the dragon screams and whatever, but it still is one of these games that like people don't necessarily just replay it because they feel like just doing it. Like they actually enjoy it, and half the time you're and I've seen these YouTube videos and they're hilarious, and I'm sure it's probably just a mod, but like they throw like these trash cans on merchants' heads and then they'll steal all the stuff that they have because they can't see. You know what I mean? So they walk up to people and they're literally throwing. I'm pretty sure it's a PC mod that they're doing, but like they throw these like little trash cans or like baskets and they put them on their head and then they'll pickpocket everybody. And it's like it's the funniest thing I've seen, but like I just don't spend a whole lot of time. But it is one of those things like when you're crouching in the game, like you have that eyeball that pops up. Yeah. So when you're crouching and nobody sees you, it's closed. But then when people see you, it's open. So like people would literally just go around trying to steal shit all the time, And I just was never really into that. But I just wanted to play the missions, and then it's like Oblivion does this, Skyrim does this, like even some of these other games that we've played together. Like, how many fucking side quests are there? Like, I feel like there's not that many missions.
Well, there's a shit ton of side quests.
But there's like a crap ton of side quests. And it's like, one of them literally could be, can you bring me some cheese? And you're like, what?
Cheese?
You can just go to the fucking market down here and get, no. This is a special cheese.
Hey.
Like, no. There's no cheese special enough for you to get off your fucking ass and go get the goddamn cheese.
Well, hold on. Remember that one side quest in Far Cry? In Far Cry 4 to be exact? No, sorry, it was in 5. It was the bull testicles. And you had to like I'm just saying it was kind of the random shit like that. I mean, and it's crazy because like this game, okay, so Skyrim we're talking about for a second. This game has now been officially re-released on so many consoles. Let's start with PS3 because that was when, of course, it was in that
3, 4, and 5.
Right. Yeah. And then you had Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, Nintendo Switch, and PC edition. So this is also another one, just kind of like how many times are we going to remake Last of Us? It's the same idea. We're going to read. Yeah, I mean, that's what they did.
And they re-released it as like Skyrim like Game of the Year edition, Skyrim. This edition, Skyrim Ultimate Edition, Skyrim Ultimate Ultra Edition.
Well, watch this. And then we're going to see one that in like 31, because it came out in 21, in 2011, Skyrim, the 20th edition, or something like that.
And, one of the interesting things, you can definitely see this in Oblivion where they only use like a handful of voice actors. And there's hundreds of NPCs that you encounter within each of these games. So when you encounter like some old guy, and then later on, like in a whole different another place, you see another old guy, they sound exactly the fucking same.
I like this part because they sound like he's had the same rough morning.
I mean, in Oblivion, I would believe it.
I mean, yeah, but then, of course, Morrowind, originally released on the original Xbox, which was a massive for bringing deeper RPGs to console players. So, I mean, in the sense of basically like early Xbox days. I mean, Xbox had, because I'll admit, because I did have an original Xbox too. It like Xbox definitely had like a good amount of games, just like PS2. PS2 had a good amount of games, but like, and I know it's going to sound really random. The one thing I'm actually kind of looking forward to, and it's a little different of a game, is Fable.
I played the original one.
No, I mean they're remaking it is what they're doing now, but I don't know. We'll see. But I know it's a little side topic, but why does this all matter, right? So Elder Scrolls, Elder Scrolls. There we go.
Elder Scrolls.
They helped normalize giant open world RPGs for mainstream audiences, which we're not saying it was the first one to do it. We're just saying that it helped, get people into playing those RPGs in this sense, and then. So for example, like modern games like The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, Dragon Age, especially like, some of the other ones like Inquisition, and even Elden Ring exists partly because Elder Scrolls proved fantasy RPGs could dominate globally. And especially apparently Skyrim here became a gateway for RPG for millions of gamers who normally never touched fantasy games. Now, I will say this. There are a lot of fantasy games, as we've already mentioned so far, like The Witcher 3, Dragon Age, Elden Ring, I will say that with RPGs, like, yes, fantasy, I mean, shit, you can think about so many fantasy games. I mean, shit, I'm thinking even on, like, the Nintendo, like, the original Legend of Zelda fantasy game. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like...
No, yeah, you're right.
It's just, I think people need to understand that, when we talk about video games in general, right? All this is technically, it's taking place in a virtual world, okay? But at the same time, yes, fantasy can lead. I mean, you have fantasy, you have sci-fi, there could be, superhero related, it could be, whatever, right? But like at the end of the day, as long as, you get people to play games that are, interesting enough that you can kind of be somebody that you're not normally or this and that, like in your, sure, you throw them in like this medieval kind of era, but it's not like you're shooting guns and, and doing all this other random shit. I mean, like just simple, shield, a sword, some armor, and you're ready to kick some ass. Like,
yeah.
Because think about it. Because I know when you mentioned like Elden Ring all the time, and the amount of times you said, fuck these bosses.
Well, in that game, yeah, fuck the bosses.
No, but like, I'm just thinking in a lot of these games, like, it's interesting enough that people will spend hours trying to perfect their weapons or their armor or, a certain like spells, because that's another thing too in this game. Like I know like, magic. And so it's just overall, I think it's interesting enough that people really dive into something that typically, cause like, if you think about it, like when we talked about like Star Trek and all that, like, yeah, it was like a lot of people were like into sci-fi and doing all this. So when you're bringing in like a totally opposite realm of, you coming from sci-fi to basically being like very medieval and all I have is a fucking sword and I'm ready to fucking kick some ass. Okay, well, I guess hopefully you don't fucking die and you go, oh! you die off on the screen, but right. I know you want me to get going on this. That's fine. So Pillar 2.
So yeah, Skyrim. I mean, I don't know if Skyrim really became a religion. I mean, that might be much, but I think it became more than just a game. Like I think people just... The game itself is just like an internet culture. Like you can look up Skyrim on YouTube and you will see, different memes, different quotes, different gameplay loops. People just did some, especially with the mods. Like the mods are just like the most funniest thing to watch.
I wish that, I understand PC's like the only one that can do that. I really wish that some games would allow console players to do that.
Yeah.
I really wish they could, because I feel like console players are really missing out on that, because PC, everyone's like, well, PC's better. Yeah, well, here's the issue with PC, in my opinion, is that, sure, you can say it's better. You have Steam, you have all these other, like, platforms, whatever. The thing about it is that when you look at a game that's meant for the console, and how many years does it take to actually come out to PC? It takes like 2 or 3 years after the game's already been released.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so if a game came out this year, oh, guess what, bud? You're not waiting until probably like 2028, 2029 before that game comes out on PC. I'm just saying. I think in some ways, like, yeah, you can wait for the game to come out then, or get a fucking console and start playing it. I'm just saying. That's just my opinion about it. But
yeah, I mean, you never just really walk somewhere in Skyrim. Like every cave, every ruin, every dungeon, or a random tower becomes this like 45-minute detour. You know, like what's over there? You get over there, and then it's like, well, what the fuck? Like I have to go to bed. Like I can't.
I can't go in here right now.
I fucking can't just keep going through this stupid cave because it's like so deep and so like.
Well, I mean, at least nowadays you can just fucking pause the game, save it, whatever you got to do, and get out of it. At least, like I was saying about the Pokemon game I was playing, you can't, Pokemon. No, it's not like you fucking do something for 2 hours and then it goes right back to the beginning because you fucking forget to save, and then you go, shit, I don't want to spend another 2 hours trying to do the same goddamn thing.
Yeah.
At least you could just pause the game anytime, click save, get out of it, and at least you can go back into it the next day.
Yeah, no, I do like. I mean, the one thing about Skyrim that I do like is that it was, you actually had a class that was called Dragonborn, and you had this kind of connection with dragons in the storyline, which was cool. Because Oblivion, I don't believe there was much, because that one was more like Oblivion was gates to hell. So you had more like hellish kind of enemies and Daedric princes and that kind of thing. But Skyrim was, to me, I think it was more of that fantasy world.
Maybe that could be a reason why a lot of people probably liked maybe Skyrim better than Oblivion.
Well, especially when you're fighting dragons and you're killing them, and
yeah,
I think that's like that's cool. I mean, I think it was just, I mean, it was a better game obviously because it's like the newer one. It was a little bit better than Oblivion in at least what you saw and what you were playing.
right.
You still have that nostalgic factor, I think, with Skyrim, where it feels like Oblivion in the way that you're playing. Like the NPCs are kind of the same. You still get kind of those like hilarious moments where NPCs will just say the most randomest shit, and you're like, what? How does this apply to the mission that we're on currently? It doesn't. Like you talking about fucking cheese does not
help me defeat this dragon.
No,
right
it doesn't
now.
help me do anything. But like the game also had bugs too when you were playing. Probably still does at this point. Different physics explosions, like things would just randomly explode. Horses climbing vertical cliffs, like it was weird. Like NPCs like launching into orbit.
Oh,
Like,
that's lovely. Yeah.
They just had some bug. I mean, most games have bugs.
Well,
but-
I mean, I like this one. The 15 dragon interrupting your shopping trip in Whiterun. Sir, I'm trying to buy cabbages. Please leave. It's like, okay, well, don't worry about me. I'm just trying to buy some cheese here while I'm at it too. But anyways, no, I mean, some of the Skyrim cities, sometimes they feel smaller than fans remember. Like you were saying about like the nostalgia, makes people remember giant cities, but we're playing today feels like some small towns are shockingly tiny. Yet somehow the atmosphere still works because Bethesda focused on identity over scale, which, and this is where I kind of say, like in some other games, like, when you look at GTA and the development of how, some of these maps were really small, and like you see GTA 5 and it has a bigger map, and then you see like the GTA 6 map is supposed to be the biggest of them all, and like this and that, but I think depending on whatever game you're playing, sure, you might remember it like, oh my God, because it's the first time you're playing and you're like, oh my God, this place is huge. Like, I don't know what's going on here, da 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 da. And yeah, and it's weird because then you go back so many years later and you go, fuck, that's a tiny ass little spot because I was just playing another game that was bigger than this shit. So what the fuck am I playing right now? So I will say real quick is that if Skyrim released exactly as it is today from an unknown studio, parts of the internet would absolutely destroy it for bugs and repetitive combat. Yes, absolutely it would. And it's nostalgia, and cultural impact protect Skyrim from criticism. Modern games would never survive.
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of at the end of the day, it's like, well, it's just Elder Scrolls. Like that's like what they're known for. I mean, it's the franchise is known for this. Like, that when you walk up to an NPC, like he could be telling you important mission details,
but you don't
or quest details, or he could be telling you about how he's been watching a turtle for 3 years cross over the pathway. Like, and you're like, What?
What'd you just say?
What do you just stand here and you watch a turtle walk? Like that's all you do? And you're the one who's giving me this quest to go and do this really important thing.
Oh, no.
And you're standing here watching a fucking turtle walk.
No. It's actually the same guy who wants you to buy him a whale cheese. That's who it is. No, and then so this is interesting because I didn't actually know this, but yeah, no, Skyrim, sold over 60 million copies across all editions, making it one of the best.
Well, it helps that they have like 32 editions of Skyrim.
Well, right, and then by the 2031 they're going to have the 20th edition, so they're going to sell another 60,000 or 60 million.
I mean, they have a Game of the Year edition. They have like the Ultimate edition. Like they have so many different editions. So yeah, I mean, it's not hard to sell 60 million copies when you have
but how many times are you going to try to remaster it? You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's got to be a stopping point. There's got to be a point where you're like, listen.
Yeah, when they do Elder Scrolls 6.
Right. When the fuck is that coming out? Because I know they've announced it a while back, but
to be announced. Yeah.
Oh, is that still what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
And then good old Elder Scrolls Online, as well as mods in the future of Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, it is one of the weirdest games, and I personally could not get into. I mean, I love the Elder Scrolls franchise as a whole. Like I love Oblivion. I don't have a problem with Skyrim. I just, for whatever reason, my brain just can't get into it. But I've tried playing multiple times Elder Scrolls Online, and for me, it's just completely unplayable. Like, I just can't do it. Like, it doesn't feel like your typical traditional Elder Scrolls. And even though, yes, they're like, you can name a whole bunch of them. Diablo 4 is one of them. Elder Scrolls Online is another one. There's a ton of these. It's the same online experience as all of them, and it's just different. Like, it's not the same.
So here's the thing about what we've been talking about before, well, at least in the case of this, right? So, you make Skyrim fine, and then instead of making the 6th one, you said, fuck it, we're gonna go an online version which you have to pay for as a separate subscription to that. So you're paying for it online, and you have to also get online too if you haven't already. And then so you think about that cost wise, I mean, so the game, I don't know, could have been $60 at the time or whatever when it came out. And then you're already paying for a full year, which, I mean, nowadays is fucking ridiculous. But, you're paying for that. So really you're paying for about 120-ish.
Well, it's really the microtransaction. I mean, if you're on PlayStation, I think the online is actually part of the PlayStation Plus.
Okay, I didn't know if it was or wasn't.
I could be mistaken, but like I said, it's that same mode of Diablo where they have seasons and you have to pay for like the new updates for it. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Like even when you're playing Diablo 4 online, like the lore just gets deeper and deeper. Like the more they add to it, and the same thing with Elder Scrolls. Like you can explore regions online that you could not in the games individually. And I do get that. So if you're like a hardcore Elder Scrolls person, like online probably is going to be the platform that you're going to enjoy because you're going to be able to go to places and see storylines that you would never see in the main games. But it's completely different. Like the whole visual look of it, the way that you play the game, like it's all completely different, you know?
And I mean, sure, like you were saying, like the game lets you explore regions. Longtime fans only read about in books and dialogue, and for hardcore lore nerds, Elder Scrolls Online became a massive playing ground, and and the lore is secretly insane, which I'm a little confused by that. What's so secretly insane about the Elder Scrolls Online?
Well, I mean, you have the bullets, right? I'm looking at the same ones.
I'm joking. I wanted you to pick it up there, Matt.
Beneath, like, this fantasy surface that, like, we've seen in the other Elder Scrolls games, it kind of brings it to another level, because when you're playing Skyrim, like, you have certain bosses, you're playing a certain area. Like, you're not getting Oblivion lore in Skyrim, and you're not getting Skyrim lore in Oblivion. You're also not getting a whole lot of Morrowind or Daggerfall stuff in any of these games individually. So when you're playing online, you can go across like Oblivion and Skyrim and Daggerfall and all these other, Hammerfall, I think was one of the online ones that they did, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, you have reality bending gods, dream universes, dragon breaks, living moons. That's weird.
Living moons. Wait a minute. Hold on. Is this ego? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's genuinely bizarre. I mean, some of the stuff is genuinely bizarre in that Elder Scrolls mindset. Like, it just the lore is so vast that you can kind of go, and that's why you said like massive playground. It's just you can go between all of this, but the game is different. Like, if you're expecting Skyrim in Elder Scrolls Online, it's radically different. You know, I don't know if Elder Scrolls Online really is the future of Elder Scrolls. I think they would have to make a 6 because I don't think Elder Scrolls is as like
what, like popular or like?
I don't think it's as popular as when you're playing Skyrim or when you're playing Oblivion. I mean, they remastered Oblivion for PlayStation 5.
Right.
Um,
Which really means that they've really updated the graphics. I mean,
I would assume that they might do the same thing for, Skyrim at some point, but you have to make a 6. You have to make it bigger. You have to make it you have to just improve on it if you're going to do a 6. If you keep it the same way, and I know you play any Bethesda game, you're playing the same type of combat, regardless.
Well, in my opinion, what they should do is not do the same thing every single time, at least with the combat wise. If they're going to change it, like make it so that way. Well, think about it like when you're playing Elden Ring or when you're playing like some of these other games where, you learn a move and you can like combo it and you can do certain things like that. If you make it a little bit more, I'm not saying fast paced, but like enough where you're like, it feels like you're actually fighting something and you're not like, and you're sitting there waiting for like, okay, what do I do in this situation? And then they just go.
Like I said, it's just that chaotic combat. Like, you could be. I think Skyrim was one particular. Like, you could be this kind of like assassin archer type build where you're very stealthy and you can hide like in bushes, and you literally could just kill enemies with like 2 arrows.
So basically, like Assassin's Creed.
Because your stealth, like all of your stealth attributes, would multiply on you just shooting arrows while you're hidden. So you could literally just kill everything.
I mean, but how many bushes are really in like areas that you would be normally going into?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure it's not just bushes, but just hiding in general.
No, I get all that. I'm just saying though, like, I get what you're saying. I mean, because like it's sure playing a stealth class might be the easiest. In the sense of trying to like, not always trying to fight them up close in person.
I think I always try to play a warrior, but I mean that's just me.
I mean, I would if I was gonna play, I was gonna say I'd probably be the assassin. I'd let you be the warrior. See, this is where Matt would be. And this is interesting because a lot of games Matt and I have played. Every single time we always go, okay, we're gonna go stealth. We're gonna go this. We're gonna blah blah. He fucks up. Like, especially if we're playing a shooter game, he'll fuck it up and he'll go, fuck it, we're going in blazing, boys, let's go. And then guess what? Right after we're, everything's said and done, we're like we're dead and we're fucking, whatever the fucking case is. And I'm just like, so do you want to try this again? He's like, yeah, but we're going to go guns blazing, right? And I said, no, we're going to go in stealth, right?
No, fuck that stealth shit.
He's like, fuck that shit. I'm going to be a warrior and I'm going to beat the shit out of these guys. No, but like, I feel like in games like this, it needs to be, there needs to be like, sure, like visual overhauls, combat redesigns, new quest lines, full expansions.
It needs modern combat. I mean,
well, that's what I mean. Like something more fast paced is what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you're keeping it the same way that Skyrim was and that Oblivion was, then it's very clunky. And I mean, I still love playing Oblivion. Don't get me wrong, but like most of it just feels like 2 people mashing swords together until one dies. Like that's most of the combat, unless you can use magic and you're flinging fireballs. But that's kind of just like what it feels like when you're playing those games. So if 6 has that same mechanic and they
It's-
don't update it at all, then
It's going to lose its fan base.
it'll lose its fan base a little bit. But I think
Well, and here's the thing too.
they have the power of using the Elder Scrolls name, which
I get it. Well, okay. Hold on. Then we could say about your favorite game of all time, Call of Duty, right? Like they use the name, but they don't change anything about it. But this is the interesting part about Elder Scrolls 6, right? It's now become this mythical status. Like it has this like eerie thing because they've been talking about it for years, but they haven't done a damn thing about it. And so, again, Skyrim was released in 2011. Fans have literally waited through multiple console generations for the next mainline game, and at this point, some new players were teenagers when Skyrim launched, and now have mortgages and back paid, which is honestly true. And it's, you know what? I'm even going to say this about myself, Matt. Ready? 2011. Ready? Matt's like, don't say it. I was 18 years old. Guess what? I clearly I've been waiting a long time with some back pain. I don't have a mortgage yet. I have rent, but it's back. I do have some back pain, but yeah. I mean, clearly it's been a long time.
well, yeah, I mean, and
doing
I
this.
think we've talked enough about the potential of Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, if they do, and I mean, they did initially announce it back in 2018. They even released a little teaser.
Okay, 2018. I bet it kind
But-
of reminds me of another game that we were waiting for. What
Oh,
was
yeah.
that game?
Oh yeah.
What was that game, Matt? What was that game that basically
But I don't.
showed up? And
I mean,
then showed up
I
many years
honestly
later?
don't think. I mean, even if they do a 6, like, how long does it take to fucking make?
No, I know, but hold
You're
on.
not making Elden Ring or Crimson Desert here.
No, I get it. Hold on. What was that game, Matt, that we waited so many years when they dropped?
Everybody knows what game that is.
Oh, well, come on. What is it? Come
Dead
on.
Island 2. Come
Okay.
on.
Yeah, because they randomly throw a trailer and they go, okay, we'll see you guys in like 6-7 years from now, and then they finally drop the game. I mean, in this case, they were waiting since 2011. Sure, they had a teaser of Elder Scrolls 6. That was in 2018, Matt. That was 8 years ago. 8 fucking years ago. Are you gonna wait until fucking 2028 or 2030? I'm just saying that seems like a long time to be waiting for a game.
So I want to talk about
Here we go.
the best, the worst, and dumbest things in Elder Scrolls.
Really? You didn't even want to talk about nothing else?
No,
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Go ahead.
no, because I genuinely like this part of it because you're playing these games, and a lot of them are the very same when you're coming up with NPCs and you're playing these different things. But one of the guilds, it's really not really a guild, but it is a guild the way that they operate, especially in Oblivion. I don't know if so much of Skyrim, if they're in Skyrim, but Oblivion had this Dark Brotherhood quest line. And it was one of probably the best as far as like Oblivion goes in Elder Scrolls. Like it was dark, it felt creepy, it was unpredictable and memorable. And you have to like at one point with this Dark Brotherhood, you solve this like murder mystery mansion. There's like a mansion mission where you're solving this murder mystery. You're like interviewing NPCs, you're trying to figure out like who done it. It was just a cool, the whole Dark Brotherhood quest line. They're basically assassins, if you didn't know. Like they're
Clearly, I could get the gist of that. Yeah.
but it was just really really cool, and the main stories like are usually in any of these games they're not the strongest part of the game. Like you can spend 200 hours or more. And this one, I mean, I don't say stealing cheese, but you can like literally just walk around stealing shit, buying shit, updating your armor and your weapons, talking to NPCs, doing all these like little side quests without even touching the main mission.
Well, because I feel like when you're playing the main mission, you need to have a level that's high enough to be able to do certain things as well. Because I feel like if you go to those missions and you go, well, shit, I didn't think about this or that or this, and you kind of have to second guess yourself. And so it's like, I get that, when you're playing a game, you want to be at a certain level that maybe you're like, okay, I can do this. I shouldn't have any issues, whatever. And then, of course, maybe,
But
part
there's
of
so many. I mean, you had what, maybe like six 6 different guilds you can join. Like you had the Mages Guild, the Fighters Guild, the Thieves Guild. You had the Dark Brotherhood. You had all these guilds that no matter what class you were, if you were a fighter, you could join the Mages Guild.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
you
that.
could go through that whole quest line, like the whole quest line for the Mages Guild, and you can become the head of the Mages Guild without even using magic.
That's crazy because I would have
Like,
thought you would have had to use magic, but
you could join the Thieves Guild even though you were a fighter or a mage character. Like you could do the whole storyline. You could do all of the guilds
and become the head of them all.
and become head of them all and be terrible. You can join the Assassins Guild like without being strong in stealth, which is completely weird.
It's
'Cause that's-
extremely weird.
That's pretty much like what the Assassins Guild and the Thieves Guild were, where they were like, high on
Like stealth,
stealth.
yeah.
And for me, and I have to say this about Oblivion because one of the dumbest game mechanics that they have is that like you gain experience by doing.
Right.
And so if you needed, I believe it was like stamina, you could play about 200 hours of you just jumping. And you could see like your skill bar like increasing and you would gain levels just in that one thing.
Yeah.
If you walked around crouched and hidden just in circles, you would build your stealth like that level up and you would just see it like bow, 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 bow. You know what I mean? Like, and now like you could literally spend hours playing this game doing the stupid shit like that just to get your levels higher. Like if you wanted to there were certain places in the game, like if you wanted to upgrade your strength, there were places in the game where you could go and just kill all the enemies and then leave. And
Like,
then
right
5
back.
minutes later, you go right back in and you do it. And like your strength would just, every time you're hitting an enemy, your skill goes up.
Hmm.
And that's how you gain like your specialties. But people would just grind the shit out of these because literally just jumping off of like, there was one I was reading where if you go to like a place that has kind of a lower ceiling,
Mhm.
you can jump like on the headboard of a bed because your jumps were like really fast.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so some of the game mechanics and the physics, they were just like, oh, let's just make this loophole real quick.
Let's just cheese it, and then you'll gain quick levels because you're gaining experience in jumping, or you would swim in the water and you would gain like your experience doing that, or you would literally run at full speed until your stamina ran out. And then once it regained, you would just sprint. But people would spend hours just doing this. So you have people that play like, 2,000 hours and they haven't even done a main quest line yet. Like it's just it's crazy dumb the way that their leveling up system kind of worked.
No, I mean, and that makes sense. I mean, like I said, there's certain games that I know you and I have played that I feel like it's good that you want to build your skills and you want to do all that. I mean, to spend 200 hours literally just either running back and forth or jumping on a fucking bed to get your stamina up and do all this stuff. Like, I mean, that seems a little ridiculous to me, but I mean, I get it. I mean, if that's what the game requires you to do to kind of like build your levels and like you get to a certain point, like I said, and start doing like some of the main stuff and like some of the side stuff, and that, again, I mean, because everyone wants to do their own thing, and that's the beauty of this game is that you get to do what you want and not
Right.
have to follow with everything else.
I
But-
cheesed not Elder Scrolls in general, but Elden Ring I cheesed. But you almost have to like cheese. There was a certain area because that game, like, you don't gain experience unless you're killing things. And so that game, like, there was an area where you could literally just kill everything in that one spot. And I just cheesed the I mean, I spent hours doing this.
So I'll say this. I would think that in most games, at least nowadays, yes, there's a lot of fast travel, right? This is a big one. Because if you really just want to go from one spot to the other every single time just to go to that one space, that gets really fucking annoying. And that's in a lot of games. Now there are certain games that you cannot fast travel to.
I think a lot of Elder Scrolls was that way.
No, I know, but like I'm thinking of like, for example, these are two games that I know you and I have definitely played, like Red Dead or like GTA, where you cannot fast travel.
No, you have to if you have a mission and it's at the very top, and then they give you a mission that's on the very bottom.
You gotta fly your ass down there or do something.
Yeah,
to
you
get
got
there
to
quick.
drive or use one of the flying vehicles or whatever because it's going to take a while.
Yes, it is.
Especially if 6 is the same way and it has a huge map like they're saying. Like you're like, hey, it'll be another hour and a half by the time I get to you. So just
Just keep doing you, bud.
just grab a snack and
Oh, and by the way, but especially where a mission like it's like on one side of the map and you have to get to the other, and it's like, okay, by the way, you only have 5 minutes to get there. And you're like, how the fuck do you expect me to get there in 5 minutes? It takes about 10 minutes or 20
yeah,
minutes.
by the way, you can't fast travel either. You have to drive.
You have to drive the entire way, and you're like, fuck.
Like Red Dead, like you have to ride a horse.
Good luck. And the
you're
problem
like,
is you're like the stamina goes.
Did you
really
make
quick.
me a flying horse or something? Like, can you
Can I
do
get a
something?
Pegasus or something like that?
Can
just to
you
fly?
can you give me something? They make me get across this map faster.
No, and I feel like fast travel in a lot of games now have definitely, yes, it is well worth it, because I mean I know in a lot of games you have to get to that point in order to get that fast travel, which is fair enough because you have to at least try to go there first before you get it, and that's fine. But I if you don't have it in most games now, it's absolutely a fucking pain in the ass because it will take years to fucking get to that other side. But yeah, I mean, oh, okay, this is an interesting one. So, getting arrested for stealing a fork, apparently with accidental roleplay moments constantly. Or sorry, the game creates accidental roleplay moments constantly. So, I didn't realize you can get arrested for stealing a fork.
Well, you can get arrested for stealing in general.
Well, no, I know, but and then it says accidentally punching a chicken and triggering an entire town riot. There you go. That's a good one. Or hoarding enough random junk to crash the economy. That's interesting. And then, oh, well, that's true. I feel like in most games this would be the case. Elder Scroll thrives in player generated chaos. And yeah, I mean, it's funny enough that you can get arrested for stealing a fork, accidentally punching a chicken, or just hoarding a bunch of shit, and the local economy decides to crash. It's like, and that's life for you.
And that's life.
But yeah, I mean, for example, Bethesda's worlds, right? They're often more fun to exist in than they are to beat. I feel like in a lot of games that do a lot of the weird shit like this. Yeah, I mean, when you look at I keep mentioning GTA, but like, nobody really, I mean, you could play the main storyline for sure. You could play the game, you can do whatever. Most people just like fucking around in there and shooting people and running people over with cars and, doing the stupidest shit on the planet. And you're like, I don't really want to play the game. I just want to fuck shit up and, see what they're going to do. Do I have to run away? Do I have to, figure out how the hell I'm going to get rid of this riot for punching a chicken? Like, it's just,
Yeah.
I feel like most people want to do that instead of actually playing the story. But, people remember, experiences and stories they created themselves more than scripted plot moments, which is true. And I feel like, if you can't do that in a game where, they're very strict on, well, you have to play the main story and you have to do this. Well, then what's the point of playing a game like that? Like you need to have moments where you're creating in the world of chaos here. And who wouldn't want to punch a chicken? Or it maybe crash the local economy and say, you know what, fuck you. I have all the fucking bread and all the cheese. I'm the bread cheese man, or whatever the fuck you want to be called. I just feel like that would be fun in my opinion. But what is this? Skyrim's opening cart scene became one of the most memed intros in gaming history. I did not know that.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of if you named a lot of people would mod this. That you can find a lot of these clips on YouTube where people have modded, where if you name your character certain things, like the people would be like, "Oh, who are you?" Like, and the NPCs would acknowledge like that name, but like generally speaking, whatever your name was, like they would just react to whatever your name was. But there were certain ones that they would react, but I think it was memed because they would mod it and they would create these names. But one of the things with at least most of the Elder Scrolls is like you almost had to remember to save. Because like a lot of Oblivion, you could play for an hour and a half, and you would think like, oh, the autosave's got me. And then you shut the game down and you turn your system off and you go to bed, and then the next day, like, I'm gonna try to pick up and finish the mission, the quest that I was on. And then all of a sudden, like, you're all the way back, like in this random ass town where you started like 3 hours before that. You're like, oh, motherfucker.
Yeah,
Like,
it's kind of like what I experienced today, actually.
yeah.
No.
I just spent like an hour and a half like grinding and getting, like, I had good gear that I found and all this other shit. And now I got to do that all over
And
again.
you're like, motherfucker, now I got to
Yeah.
remember where the hell I went and what I just did. No, and that's the shitty part about even like certain games like that where you're spending all this time and then all of a sudden you're like, son of a bitch, am I going back to the old days where we had to fucking you couldn't either stop playing or you had to find a fucking checkpoint or a save point or something like that?
Yeah.
Um,
But no, I do think, as far as a franchise, I do think Elder Scrolls is one of those, like, when you mention Elder Scrolls, somebody's at least heard of it. Like, you can say Far Cry, you can say God of War, and I think Elder Scrolls is up there. Like, it's a
Yeah.
franchise that is pretty well known, and like I said, I love Oblivion. For whatever reason, like, Skyrim is just, it's okay to me, but Oblivion, like, I can replay that game over and over again, and it's got its quirkiness, and the NPCs are really random. Like, some of the DLCs that they came out with for Oblivion, you go into the different places and you meet this guy, Shao Gorath. He's like one of the Daedric princes of madness. And just the random shit that he says, like, is just so funny. He's the cheese guy, by the way.
I figured it would be.
Yeah. And he talks about, he talks about a block of cheese and it's like, what are you talking, like, what the fuck are you talking about right here?
Can you just grab me that cheese over there that's actually about 20 feet that way? And you're like, why can't you get your lazy ass off your fucking ass and just get it yourself? And you're like, well, that's part of the main quest. And actually, they'll give you about 100,000 experience. And you're like,
Yeah,
okay.
so that whole realm is like split into, there's chaos and then there's madness. So there's like a chaos prince and then,
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, I think Elder Scrolls as a whole, I think it's one of those iconic franchises in gaming. I think it can stand next to Assassin's Creed. I think if you said Assassin's Creed and Elder Scrolls, people would know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about different franchises and how they've, changed, gaming history in general. Don't get me wrong. Has Elder Scrolls done it in a way that has changed the gaming, let's say platform or history in general? It may have certain things that it's changed, especially like bringing more RPGs.
I wouldn't say
to the
change.
forefront.
I would say more influence.
Well,
to be
okay,
honest.
influence, yeah. Especially like if you're thinking about, like we've mentioned before, like Elden Ring, Dragon Age, Witcher, 3 and all that,
Yeah.
I would say, like, sure, it helped kind of help these games kind of get to a point where they've achieved a level of success and stuff like that. Because when we've talked about other games, these games really defined, how mechanics are done and how these, especially like when you just mentioned Assassin's Creed, like they upped the ante for a lot of things. Granted, they've also went sideways on a lot of things, but it is also like when you're looking at role-playing games, bringing a level of, like we've been just talking about, like the fantasy and the medieval side of, bringing all these worlds together and like the customization, all this stuff. It has brought that, like you said, influential. Wise.
Yeah, you're looking at a game like Oblivion that came out 2002, and having it being that level of an open world where you can go anywhere.
Was it really 2002? Oblivion?
Yeah, I believe it was 2002.
I would have thought it was a little bit later than that. I thought it was like maybe mid 2000s or.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Because I mean,
2006.
okay, so
But still, I mean, you're still talking 2006,
right, that was 20 years ago.
and for a game like I'm sure Morrowind was probably a little bit of the same way, just not as heavy.
Right.
But like you could go anywhere, do anything. You could just primarily do side quests and Oblivion gates. And Oblivion was big on the Oblivion gates without even touching the main quests.
Right.
And you're already tens of hundreds of hours into the game. You know what I mean? So I think you look at when it came out and you look at some of these other games and, I mean, I don't know exactly when the first Far Cry came out, but like when you're looking at 4 and 5, like you're looking at some of these later ones.
So I think the very first Far Cry came out in like very early 2000s for sure. But like the first two were never about. It was actually following one guy, and then they then decided to just say, hey, in Far Cry 3 and Primal and all that, they were focusing on just the one individual characters with their like main arc villain in a sense. So it was much later when they started doing that.
But they're much more open world. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
correct.
So they're much more open world, and you can do pretty much anything in these games.
Right. You can. I mean, you can do whatever you want, and you don't have to follow the set of rules.
Right.
And just like this, where you're not following a set of rules. I mean, granted, with Morrowind, clearly they were just like, hey, fuck you. You get to figure it out. Have fun.
Yeah.
And the other one.
Oh, you didn't listen to the NPC? That's your fucking problem, buddy.
I guess what, bud? You got to go figure it out. And by the way, there's no such thing. Actually, you know what it was back in the day? Cheat CC. And you had to look this shit up and go,
Cheat Code Central.
yep. And you had to go, how the fuck do I do this? Well, go on here and you'll find out.
Well, I mean, honestly, like when these, maybe not so much Skyrim, but I had a book on GTA.
I did too. I had a book on. Actually, I think it was.
But
I think it was 5 that I.
That's
had a book
what
on, but I
you.
went
That's
further.
what you used to buy when you. At least when I was younger.
Oh, I remember too. I
You
remember buying
you
a
would
book.
buy the whole walkthrough
Yes,
hardcover books.
Yep.
And they had Oblivion. You could buy. I had the GTA 5 one, and it had the green
Yep.
shiny logo on the outside of it.
I remember actually even further than that. I think GTA 4. Like a lot of these.
I had the
actually-
Metal Gear Solid one.
So and it's funny that we're aging ourselves, even though what I'm saying is that yes, you're right. Like back in the day, you actually had to buy the books, and what's stupid about it is like they were like $20-$40 books.
Oh, they were pretty
know,
expensive books.
But like but sometimes especially games like this, and you're like, I really want to know like as much as I need to know, and it would give you every little thing you needed to know.
Every detail, like if you wanted to get the achievements, if you wanted to complete the side quest, if you wanted to like who you needed to talk to, where you needed to go, the gear, everything.
Like I said, well, actually, I was thinking about it because they also, they had different versions of it. So they had the PlayStation, they had the Xbox. I don't think they might have had a PC version maybe at the time, but I know, and it's funny because I can still remember this about GTA is like going on Cheat Code Central. You type it in, and then you have to go like into your cell phone, especially like in San Andreas days, and you go, I want CJ to be this bulky motherfucker, or you got to change the weather, or you got to do certain things, and they would give you like, okay, so here's the phone number you have to call, or
especially 5, you had to dial the number.
yeah, you had to right,
Yeah.
and then you were like, okay, so here's how much money I want, here's I need to change the weather. No, and I'm just saying, like we're only saying this because like nowadays it is so much easier to like look on your phone and go, okay, so what do I do from here? Blah, blah, blah. Like, what's the best path? What's this? Like, how do I get here? Back in the day, either you had your friend telling you, or you had to basically get the book or get something because there really wasn't a whole lot of like what we're doing nowadays. Like now there's like fucking platforms. There's Reddit. There's all these things that give you the, kind of like a step-by-step where you don't have to buy a book. And that's why they stopped making those books. Because they were like, there's online platforms now. We can just, not have to worry about giving these books. I really wish they would, though. If there's anything that I really wish they would, I think it'd be cool if games would start doing that again. Now most people would be like, why do you want to read a fucking book? It's called, oh, I don't know. Maybe you should fucking pick up a book and start reading because maybe you just don't have a high enough level of reading, and maybe you need to start reading those goddamn books. Or maybe you just pick up Matt's book and you start reading his book.
Hey,
Hey, what a concept. No, I'm
so I do want to update a little bit on 6 here because I mean it looks like initially in June of 2016, the executive producer at Bethesda basically described the game status as kind of the elephant in the room.
Kind of the elephant in the
Yeah.
room. I love how he used that term.
And it goes, I mean, in production, this is August 2023.
Okay, so
He described the intent behind Elder Scrolls 6 as wanting to make the ultimate fantasy world simulator, and that there were many directions to take with that goal due to the time passed since Skyrim released. The next update was March 25th, 2024. They celebrated the 30th anniversary of the Elder Scrolls, stating that Elder Scrolls 6 is still in development and early builds were already being played. How
wow.
about that? And then
In 2026, no.
come 2026, actually, yeah. The development team had reached an early internal consensus on the setting of Elder Scrolls during the Fallout 4 development period. Although he did not disclose the location and noted that no story work had been undertaken at that time. And then in February, he again stated in an interview that Elder Scrolls 6 is being developed as a classic Bethesda role-playing game comparable to Oblivion and Skyrim. He confirmed that the game runs on the Creation Engine 3 and that development has passed a major internal milestone, though no release window was released.
So this is why I hate when big names like this, it's like they tease you for so many years. And this is why also when you look at GTA 6, right? Because same idea, because the game came out in 2013, GTA 5. You know, we're now in 2026, and that's 13 years. Okay. And now we're talking about a game that was, you know, with Skyrim being made in 2011, and now we're talking 2026, and we're still waiting on
Right.
some
And
answers.
One of these notes actually says that IGN, according to a leak, this mysterious next generation of Xbox is supposed to be planned to hit shelves in 2028. And again, this was in 2023. Elder Scrolls 6 was said to be at least 5 years away from that point.
So they're thinking
So,
that's going to be the
I think there's a good chance that it will launch with this new Xbox platform.
which is kind of because that's the thing. Because then if you think about it, where PlayStation, they're waiting on, I would think in the next at least couple years they're going to probably announce, they're going to launch the PS6 as well. So they're probably going to compete with Xbox again. Even though they're already leaking, like Xbox is already leaking games into PlayStation, and PlayStation really doesn't do that, but they'll drop it off to Steam, and then basically with Steam, they're already partnering up with Xbox, so it doesn't matter because you basically can get any game you want.
Right.
So I'm just saying at this point, because like especially where Bethesda is basically Xbox owned now company, they're really not going to give a shit. They're going to make sure that PlayStation people can at least get it as well. So this is why we've also been talking about that console wars are pretty much dead, and it doesn't matter anymore about that. But
well, Microsoft has taken in Activision Blizzard, so they're part of
that's what I mean.
Microsoft.
That's why I'm saying but that's what I'm saying. Unless because Xbox has pretty much stated that they don't give a shit. They're gonna because they've already done it with a lot of games. Like Indiana Jones is one. I mean, that was a game that was supposed to be for just Xbox. Guess what? That came over. I mean, there's so many games that they're going to be doing now. So like where they're going to make this game, I don't see why they can't drop it to PlayStation anyways. And I'm just saying, because I think at this point, when we already look at everything, and you look at a game like this, if you just say it's only for Xbox, I guarantee you people are going to be rip shit. And they're going to be upset about the fact that they can't play a game if I have to now own an Xbox, which I don't know if you know this, Matt, even though we have to finish this up. And I read this the other day, I know with PlayStation, they were saying that the projected number when it comes to buying like a new like console, they're projecting that the new like console is going to be anywhere from $600 to $700. I mean,
yeah, that's crazy.
And I mean, think about it, because that's going to be the same thing of what Xbox is about to do. they're going to do the same exact thing, and they're going to make it roughly the same. And then you're going to go, well, fuck. Because then you're like, I already had to pay $500 to get a console. Do I really want to pay another $100 or $200 more than what I've already paid for this? I mean, couldn't we just go back to the old days where it was just like maybe $200? Call it a day? No. We got to make it. Basically, what they're going to do is they're going to just make a mini computer. And that's all they're basically doing nowadays. But I feel like now they're going to be like, so instead of actually making a game console, we're just going to make you a computer. Why don't you just buy yourself a computer? You're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy what they're doing with the consoles, but
I know. But anyways, boys and girls, I know we got to finish this up. You know, we've been talking a lot about Elder Scrolls Online and Elder Scrolls in general. I mean, again, you can have your own opinions about it. Let us know if you feel the need to let us know about that. But anyways, until next time.
Stay geeky, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.